Are you looking to move to Atlanta, Georgia and have no idea what the city is like? I got you. I have been in your shoes. I moved to Atlanta 10 years ago now, but I can still remember the day that we showed up in Atlanta and called it home. I didn't know up from down, left to right, what was in the city, what was cool, where were the places to go. So I want to cover that for you in my series of videos. But today I just want to give you some general information. So here are 9 things that you should know before moving to Atlanta. Let's get right into them. Everyone, my name is Molly Sleznick, and thanks for joining me on my channel where I really just want to tell you what it's all about living in Atlanta and give you a guide of what areas might be best for you to live in. So definitely follow me along on my channel. I would love it if you would like my video and subscribe to it and hit that little bell so you can be notified the next time I post a video. I help people out all the time, especially people coming from out of state. Which that's my passion because I've been there. I know what that's like. And so I love to help you out of towners and even people moving from the burbs into the city. They don't really know a lot about the city itself and all the different neighborhoods because Atlanta has a ton of neighborhoods. But I'll get into that another time. But right now, let's just jump right into 9 things you need to know about moving to Atlanta. And I'm going to start with number 1, which is the roads. And I'm a visual person, and once I see a map, I can understand things a lot better. So I just want to jump right into a map here now in a second and talk about the major roads, where there's bottlenecks, and just getting around the city. So let's jump right into that right now. Okay, so here is our map of Atlanta. And before I even start, I'm just going to tell you straight off, Atlanta does not have a good grid system or grid road system. I came from Houston and I love a grid road system. It's just easy to navigate. Atlanta is not that. It is more like throwing a bunch of spaghetti in a bowl and mixing it up, and roads go every which way, they twist, they turn. So you're really going to rely on your GPS a lot until you get used to some of the roads around here. But let's just go over some of the main highways. So we've got 285, which is our loop around, my drawers not working. Okay. The loop around the city. So you're going to see all your big semis on here, bypassing, going through downtown. Now, if you live inside this circle, people will refer to that as living ITP, or inside the perimeter. And if you live outside of the circle, you're going to be referred to as OTP, or outside the perimeter, which is including all of your suburbs of the Atlanta area. Now, the other big highways that we have going on here are I-85 that comes through the northeast and swings down through downtown and then comes back out this way towards Alabama. Then you've got I-75 that is coming from up here and swings up and joins I-85 in downtown and midtown, and then it comes down and heads out to, basically it could take you to Florida if you kept going that way. Another big major highway that cuts through the city is I-20. So all of these highways are heavily traveled throughout the city. Some of the bottlenecks that we see a lot are, of course, you're going to see traffic slow down right in the midtown, downtown area, just because we have all the traffic merging together here. We're also going to see, one other highway I should point out too is this Highway 400. And it's a little bit of a newer road. It used to be a toll road, but not anymore. And let me move the map down here a little bit. It takes you out into the popular suburbs of like Roswell. You got Sandy Springs, Dunwoody over here, and then it goes out to Roswell and carries you on to Alpharetta up there. But this highway gets super packed during the peak times of the day, and whether you're going north or south on this highway, it can be pretty slow going. They're also doing a ton of construction right now, right here at the Sandy Springs Dunwoody, the perimeter, as they call it, area. Right here at this 400 exit, they're just adding ramps, and I think the project's going to take another 2 years, so it's going to be slow going right over here. And if you drive through it right now, it is kind of a cluster. Let's see. Okay, another couple of roads that I'll mention. There are a couple of what I call neighborhood highways, and one of those is going to be this Claremont Road. It kind of comes off of 85 and carries you all the way down into city of Decatur. And you've got, let me zoom in a little bit, but here you've got, Emory Children's Hospital, the CDC. So if you see homes that are located on Claremont Road, you'll always see the price and think, man, that's a good deal. But there's a reason those homes are discounted, because they are on a pretty heavy traveled road. And another road that carries you kind of into Midtown from the east side is this road, Highway 78, which is also called Ponce de Leon, until it hits right here, and then it turns into Scott Boulevard and carries you out to areas like Stone Mountain, Lilburn, etc. So those are kind of the main highways up around here. Let me clear some of this out. Here we go. Gets a little messy. So other things I was going to talk about. So Atlanta has our version of a train system, subway system, whatever you want to call it. It's not as robust as areas like Washington, D.C. or Boston or New York or Chicago. It's not as great, but it can be okay. So really the MARTA station will make just kind of a big X through town, kind of like this. And if you are living anywhere off of these lines, it's great. Otherwise, you need to either have a car in the parking lot where the MARTA stops are, or having another mode of transportation to get you to your house. Because if you live right up here, riding the MARTA is not going to be helpful for you. And the MARTA does stretch up into Sandy Springs, Dunwoody area, but it basically is a big X through the city. It actually carries you right into the airport area. Let me move this down right here, but let me circle it for you. So the airport is right here, and you can literally ride the MARTA and it'll drop you off inside the airport, which is pretty nice. So, if you are traveling and you don't want to deal with traffic, you can hop onto a MARTA line, and you don't have to worry about parking. You're dumped off right there in the airport, which could be really good. If you live up here in Alpharetta, Roswell, it could take you a long time to get down to the airport, just depending on the time of day that you're traveling there. It can be pretty slow going, but one option you would have is there's a MARTA drop off right here. Whoops, I got my drawing tool wrong. So there's kind of a MARTA station right here. You could park your car here, hop on the MARTA and ride it down, and probably beat some of the traffic because it can get pretty congested right there. Another thing I was going to point out, and I will mention this later in the video, but there's this path called the Beltline, and it kind of makes a small little loop in through all of these neighborhoods. This is a little bit off, but it generally makes a loop kind of like this. And so that'll be like when it's all done, a big walking, jogging, bike path. So that'll be pretty cool. Right now, it doesn't have it all done. There's just sections of it, but it's a pretty big attraction here in the in-town Atlanta area, and for residents that live near it. It's just a great way to be on foot and explore different parts of the town without having to get into your car. I think that's all I have for the map section, so we'll just stop there. Okay, number 2. I had no idea. I probably should have done more research on this one, but Atlanta has a ton of trees. I was super surprised by this, and they are mature trees. Atlanta has been given, well, tons of nicknames, but one of their nicknames is a city in a forest, which totally makes sense because we are one big city under a big tree canopy. You know, trees, they do have their nuances though, because in the fall, those leaves are falling and falling and falling, and you're constantly having to pick them up and load them out. So that's probably one downside of all the trees we do have here in Atlanta, but the fall foliage in the fall is awesome and so pretty. And then in the spring, holy cow, the buds and blooms that come off of some of these trees are so beautiful. So they are great to watch all year round. But you know, Atlanta is pretty picky though with their trees because we want to preserve that. So here, at least in the city of Atlanta, you actually have to get special permits if you want to cut a tree down. So it's all to keep our city looking beautiful and for everyone to enjoy. Number 3, this one, okay. I came from Houston, where Houston is flat as a pancake. You know, if you've been there, you know, or you know, if you're from Florida, it's flat as a pancake. Atlanta, so hilly. Oh my gosh, it is so hilly. But you know what? I think that makes it pretty beautiful in its own way. I'm a big runner, and I will tell you, the first 2 months that I got here, I had shin splints like crazy because I had to get used to these hills. But we have tons of rolling hills. No matter which way you go, you're gonna encounter a hill. So if you're a runner like me, just be prepared that you're gonna have to get your body conditioned for tackling these hills. Okay, number 4. Now this is something that I love. Atlanta has a neighborhood for pretty much any personality type. We have neighborhoods where if you're super artsy, we got you covered there. If you wanna be ritzy, we got you covered there. If you like historic mansion or just like historical features, we have tons of neighborhoods with that. If you want something more yuppie-ish, we got you covered. And we even have stuff for, you know, if you like hookah pipes and having your arms loaded up with tattoos, we've got a neighborhood where tons of people like that hang out. And if you want family friendly, we definitely have you covered there. So I'll get into more of these neighborhoods as I publish more videos because I really want to show you what each of these unique neighborhoods have to offer for you. But just know that Atlanta has tons of neighborhoods and there's going to be one that will fit your style. Okay, number 5. This is a big one because everyone will talk about it, or they'll mention it and you may be like, what? It is the Beltline. Okay, so the Beltline covers a 23-mile loop. I could be wrong. It may be more than that. But it is a big loop around the city of Atlanta, and it follows old railroad tracks. Now, this only began maybe 10 years ago, probably 9, where they started paving this portion of the railroad track. Now, it's not all the way done yet. There's just sections of it. But when the first section got done on, they call it the East Side Trail, oh my gosh, the property values around there blew up. And I just happened to buy a house right by that Beltline. So I'm reaping the rewards of that. But now everyone will say, I want to live by the Beltline, because the Beltline's pretty cool because it connects all these different neighborhoods together. And so you can literally hop on a bike and ride over to a different neighborhood, have a beer or a cocktail, have some lunch, and ride home. You never have to get in your car, which is really cool. And Atlanta's big on being walkability and having walkability, and this Beltline is definitely fitting that bill. You know, there's even people that live near the Beltline and they work on the Beltline. So how cool is that they would never even have to get in their car? They can just pop on the Beltline, ride to work, do their work for the day, and then walk home, ride your bike home. I love running on the Beltline. It is the only flat portion in Atlanta where you can run and not encounter a bunch of hills. But it's still, like I said, it's still a development in process. There's different sections of it done. But when it's all complete, that will be amazing. So I'll have to do another video just talking about the Beltline and the neighborhoods around the Beltline later on. But it's something definitely you want to experience when you get here. Number 6. Festivals. Okay, this caught me by surprise because I had never encountered this before, but There are so many neighborhoods here in Atlanta that want to host their own festival. So you'll have the Candler Park Festival, you'll have the Inman Park Festival, you'll have the Dogwood Festival in Piedmont Park, the Summerfest in Virginia Highland, and it goes on and on and on. And it's basically just each neighborhood hosting an arts and craft, food, music type of festival. And I will tell you though, once you've been to one, you kind of have seen them all, because it's a lot of the same vendors that go to each of these, and you'll be like, oh, I saw you at the last festival. But there's still a lot of fun, just a great time to hang outside, walk around, eat some food from the food truck, have a funnel cake, that kind of thing. And kids love it because there's usually bounce houses and that kind of stuff. So anyway, festivals is something that is super fun here in Atlanta. And to go off track just a bit, one thing that Atlanta does host on July 4th is the Atlanta Peachtree Road Race. It's only 60,000 of runners doing a 10K. It starts in Buckhead, goes down Peachtree onto 10th Street and finishes at Piedmont Park. So it's a ton of fun. It's always hot. It's a big party, but it's just one of those big events that everyone looks forward to every year. Number 7, the weather. You're probably wondering, what's the weather like anyway? So we get a good mix. I lived in Houston for over 7 years, so I've experienced super hot, humid, and I grew up in Kansas, so I also know what cold, icy, snow, all that stuff is. Atlanta has a good mix of everything, nothing too extreme, I think, in my opinion anyway. So the spring and fall, those are the best seasons in my opinion, and they're pretty long. They last a good time before you run into the hot summer months or the colder. You get a good spread of those seasons. Now Atlanta, you may know, is called Hotlanta. Yes, Atlanta does get hot in the summertime, but I don't think it's any different from other parts of the country, to be honest. Yeah, it gets humid, but if you live in New Orleans or Houston or Miami, I think actually the humidity here is pretty mild. It's not so bad. Now the winters, this is embarrassing. My Kansas family would laugh at me because whenever there's a tiny sliver of ice or snow, Atlanta freaks out, okay? It's just because we are not prepped for that, and because of the hills, when they ice over, it's really hard to get over those hills if they're icy. So we kind of freak out if there is snow, so just plan for a snow day if we get anything like that. But yeah, it gets cold. It'll drop into the 20s for a stretch at a time, but it's never, I can only remember one time where we got down to the single digits, and my blood has thinned from living in the South so long. And if you live in the South for a long time too, I promise you, your blood is going to thin as well. Okay, number 8, Crawlspaces. Okay, I had no idea what this was when I got to Atlanta until we bought our house, and when we were looking at homes, all of a sudden every old house had a crawl space or like this unfinished basement area with dirt, and it was bizarre to me. I grew up in Kansas where everyone had a basement, and then in Houston, everyone is just built on a slab. Houston doesn't have basements. So getting here and seeing these dingy, creepy crawl spaces was definitely a shock to me. So if you start searching for homes and you see pictures of an unfinished basement that looks kind of freaky and spooky, it's okay. We have a ton of old homes, like 1920, 1930 homes here in Atlanta, and they were all built on these crawl spaces. One, it helped the air breathe and circulate through the house, but also, back before modern day, HVAC systems, that's how they heated the house, was underneath of the house. They had wood stoves, and it would heat up the house with the floorboards. But now, modern day age, we put our HVAC systems in the crawl space, and it's great if you're renovating because you can access those pipelines and the plumbing from the crawl space, and you don't have to break up any kind of pavement from the foundation. So just know that if you see a crawl space, it's normal here. Now, newer homes that are built here in Atlanta, we don't do really crawl spaces anymore. Most of them will be either slab or on a basement, so you don't have to worry about it if you're looking at new construction. But if you're looking at these older homes or a home that's been renovated on an existing foundation, you'll probably run into a crawl space. Okay, finally, number 9. you're probably wondering what kind of jobs are here in Atlanta, and we have a good mix of everything. One thing that I thought was surprising was that we actually have a pretty good tech industry. You know, Microsoft is moving in, Google's moving in, and MailChimp, they're building a big facility right there off of the Beltline in Ponce City Market. And we have 16 Fortune 500 companies headquartered right here in Atlanta. Some of those you're going to recognize when I rattle them off: Delta, Home Depot, Coca-Cola, UPS, Pulte, Intercontinental Exchange. And another one I have to mention is Chick-fil-A. Oh yeah, we are headquartered here in Atlanta. And so we have a lot of great industries here. Another job that I thought, it's come on in the last, I don't know, maybe 5 to 7 years is the movie industry. So Georgia has given big tax credits for Hollywood and the film industry to come and shoot movies here. So we get a lot of Hollywood coming in to film movies, and I will be the first to admit, I actually saw one celebrity sighting. He was working out at my gym at like 5:30 in the morning. I actually saw him twice, and it was Will Ferrell. He was filming Anchorman 2. So that was pretty cool. But anyway, there is a big film industry, so a lot of movie makers and artists here, which was very surprising to me. All right, you guys, that's my 9 things that you should know before moving here to Atlanta. Thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions, feel free to call, text, email me, or put a comment here below. I am always happy to help you out and answer any questions you have. Until next time, I will see you later.